that has a local family asking a lot of tough questions. It's after two people from Virginia Beach were found dead in an Airbnb thousands of miles away. Mexico City, to be exact. Not only do loved ones now know what happened, but they don't know if they'll ever find out. 10 on your side's Amy Avery has this story for us tonight. Amy?
Well, Stephanie, Candace Florence and Jordan Marshall both grew up in Virginia Beach and graduated from Kellam High School. They were on vacation in Mexico City with one of Jordan's friends from New Orleans. Their families say they both made a big impact in the short time they had.
It kind of felt like being in her presence and just remembering just how powerful she was.
Family members tell us Candace Florence was a creator and a force to be reckoned with.
She was a dreamer. Dreamer meaning she wanted to make a difference.
Candace started a candle making business in 2020 called Glow Through It. Her candles feature an affirmation to empower those who burn them.
She said, don't go through it, glow through it.
Candace and her friend Jordan Marshall were both found dead in their Mexico City Airbnb last week. Candace's boyfriend was on the phone with her when she started getting sick. He then called the Airbnb host to do a welfare check, and authorities found Candace, Jordan, and Jordan's friend Cortez Hall inside.
Having to maneuver language barriers and travel and trying to, get his body home. It's been a lot.
Both Jordan and Candace's families caught flights to Mexico City. Jordan's mom, Jennifer Marshall, says they spent hours in a Mexico City police station. She says the U.S. Embassy was closed when they got there, and they couldn't even get into the Airbnb to get his things.
His wallet, his laptop, he took all those things.
Jordan was a teacher in New Orleans. His mom says he was very passionate and incredibly proud of his work as an educator.
We're just glad that, he did have that opportunity in his short time to make an impact.
Candace and Jordan's families say they hope no one else ever has to go through this.
Nobody took the effort to even try to notify us.
Seeing challenge as an opportunity to fight so others won't have to go through what they've experienced.
It's really just a waiting game and hoping that they reach out to us, which, as you can see, that was difficult for them to do initially, to even let us know that she wasn't here anymore.
Now, Airbnb told Jordan's mom that their belongings had been passed on to the authorities while the incident is under investigation. Jordan and Candace's bodies are expected to be flown back to the U.S. in the next few days. We also reached out to the U.S. Embassy for comment on this case, but we have not heard back yet.
In two separate incidents who died of carbon monoxide poisoning while vacationing in Mexico City. Matt Rivers is there with the details. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, George. Just over my shoulder behind me, you can see the building where three American friends came here to Mexico City hoping to spend a fun weekend. Instead, they lost their lives inside an apartment there. Their families now asking, how could that have happened? This morning, the families of four tourists killed by carbon monoxide poisoning in two different Mexico City vacation rentals demanding answers.
This can't happen anymore.
Authorities say Americans Candace Florence, Jordan Marshall, and Cortez Hall were all found dead in their Airbnb rental on October 30th. Florence's family telling ABC News they were in town to join Day of the Dead celebrations.
She just loved being in the presence of other people and just feeling how they live.
They say the 28-year-old spoke to her boyfriend on the phone that day and told him she wasn't feeling well.
She said, I was vomiting and dizzy and my legs are wobbly.
Authorities say they arrived at the scene to find the bodies of the three friends, all dead from carbon monoxide poisoning. Airbnb suspending the listing and canceling upcoming reservations, telling ABC News, quote, our priority now is to provide support to those affected while the authorities investigate what happened, and we are available to cooperate with the investigation in any way we can. But that same weekend, just a few miles away, another death from carbon monoxide. 29-year-old Angelica Arce was staying in a non-Airbnb vacation rental with her siblings, Andrea and Marco, when they started to feel sick.
Vomited, actually. And I felt really dizzy.
Andrea and Marco telling our San Diego affiliate KGTV that Angelica was treated for heat exhaustion at the hospital and went back to the rental to sleep. But a few hours later, Marco found her lifeless.
I looked at her hair and she was all purple. I was very scared.
These deaths just the latest in a disturbing trend among vacationers. In May, 3 U.S. tourists were killed by carbon monoxide poisoning at a Sandals resort in the Bahamas. Not all rental companies mandate that their properties have functioning carbon monoxide detectors. The victims' families now calling for more regulation.
We will fight to make sure that mandates are implemented so no other family has to deal with this type of brokenness and heartache.
And you have to wonder how a simple detector like this, which I actually bought not far from here, I actually take it with me on some of my personal and professional trips to try and stay safe. How is something like this not mandatory here in Mexico City? That is the question that these families are now asking. Guys.
Died last weekend while on vacation in Mexico. And tonight, the mother of Cortez Hall desperately seeking answers in the death of her only son. His family says that he and two of his friends were found dead in their vacation rental home.
And now they are still waiting to learn about the circumstances surrounding the deaths while also working to bring their bodies back home. WDSU News reporter Shay O'Connor joins us with the very latest on the situation. Shay?
Yeah, family tells me Cortez Hall was a 7th grade history teacher right here at KIPP in New Orleans East. Now his mom, Ciola Hall, tells me she received the news on Monday, her birthday, when the U.S. Embassy called.
I don't know. It's hurting. It's a hurtful thing. I'm not getting any sleep. It's sleep off and on, waking up all through the night. And I think I'll just feel much better if he was just back home.
Ciola Hall and her children say it's an agonizing time as they wait for answers.
They don't know what happened to my child. They are under investigation with it. And that's all they can tell us.
Cortez Hall is a New Orleans native. We're told his two friends were from Virginia. Hall's mom says the group traveled to the capital city of Mexico for a short trip over the Halloween weekend. Now relatives are desperately trying to piece together just what happened to the trio. All they have right now are bits and pieces.
There was a male and a female. All three had gone over. And the female, she was able to contact her boyfriend to let him know that that she couldn't feel her legs. Her legs were numb. She couldn't move her legs. And she said, and she kept throwing up.
And the family says it's been a real challenge getting Hall and his friends' bodies back to the United States.
When someone unfortunately passes abroad, it's a language barrier, and then it's not a lot of information that they give you over the phone.
I just found out Monday, and I feel like as of Monday we haven't gotten to nowhere.
The hope for the Hall family to find out exactly what happened to the guy they say had a love for history, music, traveling, and his family, and to get him home for a proper burial. His mom had a message for other parents in the hopes that this won't happen to anyone else's child.
Parents, please talk to your children. Please, when they are going out of the United States, please talk to them. Let them know that they need to be aware of what could happen.
Now, as you can imagine, teachers, staff, and students here at KIPP all devastated at the loss of their beloved teacher. Now, we did reach out to the U.S. Embassy on the situation. They sent us a statement that reads in part, "We can confirm the death of 3 U.S. citizens in Mexico. We're closely monitoring local authorities' investigation into the cause of death. We stand ready to provide all appropriate assistance. Out of respect for the privacy of the families, we have nothing further to add at this time." We also reached out to the owners of the home where I'm told the group was renting from. At this time, we have not heard back. Reporting from New Orleans East, Shay O'Connor.
Autopsy results from Mexican officials reveal that it's believed they were victims of carbon monoxide poisoning. Now, I talked with a mom of one of the victims tonight, and she says her family is frustrated because of how they're getting their information about her son all of this time through media sources. She's asking for more support as her family lays her son to rest this week.
We, I think, draw comfort in the fact that in his 28 short years, Jordan lived a very full and fulfilling life.
For Jennifer Marshall, her son Jordan was a lifelong learner with a passion for teaching and traveling.
He loved to do history tours and just immerse himself completely in the culture, in the cuisine, and the history of different places.
She says Jordan, along with friends Candace Florence and Cortez Hall, made a long weekend trip to Mexico to celebrate Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, only to find out days later that her son and friends were found dead inside an Airbnb property in Mexico City.
They went down to celebrate that for the long weekend. Yeah, that was the outcome.
Wednesday, News 3 learned of new details surrounding their deaths. According to the Associated Press, Mexico City police say they believe the three were victims of gas inhalation. Police also went on to say the three were found unresponsive back on October 30th. Post-mortem exams suggested all three died of carbon monoxide poisoning. And police also went on to say security guards at the apartment building called, quote, after they detected an intense smell of gas in an apartment.
We've heard so many different reports.
Marshall says since finding out about her son's death, it's been a roller coaster of emotions.
We are gaining information, mostly by social media posts, and we are getting information from reporters and news outlets. We have yet to hear from any U.S. official, U.S. Embassy from Mexico City. That's been, I think, the most frustrating part.
She hopes to get more support soon as Jordan's celebration of life is planned for later this week.
We want to make sure that we give him a beautiful homegoing service.
And Kurt, they say that celebration of life for Jordan is set for this upcoming Friday.
Zach, what are we hearing from the State Department about this?
So we actually got a statement from the State Department today. A spokesperson tells us they say they're continuing to monitor the Mexican authorities' investigation into this case, and they say they're providing all appropriate consular support, assistance to these families that are involved. It's just a sad situation.
It is. Zach, thank you for the update.